Dear ones, it was already old news by the time it arrived. When the Union Army steamed into the port at Galveston, it was already old news. But it was old news that many people had yet to hear. Today is Juneteenth, the day we celebrate the fact that finally the last remaining enslaved people in America heard the news that they were free. They must have been stunned. They must have been inspired. They must have allowed some small hope to enter their hearts that the moment had finally come. And we look back and we know that though the hope was essential, and though the hope is still essential, the moment has not yet come. That moment of freedom, that moment of dignity, that moment of equity, that moment which takes forever, it seems, has not yet come. It's old news. Today is Juneteenth, and this year, the old news is finally reaching many people who had been isolated from it by numbness, by arrogance, by prejudice, by ideology. The old news is here, and it's new, and it's news. Today, the line at General Motors will be shut down for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the length of time that Officer Chauvin kept his knee on the neck of George Floyd as George said, "I can't breathe." It's old news that some people are finally getting for the first time. Dare we hope again? Dare we let the possibility enter our hearts that this time it will be different? That the efforts will be sustained, that policy will be changed, that culture will be changed in the police departments, in the schools, in all of the institutions that are permeated by supremacy? Dare we hope? Dare we not hope? And so, my friends, we ask here at Unity over and over and over again, what can we do? How can we be useful? What is our next right action? There are 100 people or more involved in that conversation, in that planning process, and already resources are being made available. Power is being marshaled right here in your church. We hope to make a difference. We pray that we will make a difference. But we have one core task. Robinson Jeffers, the great lonely California poet, wrote in his poem Shine Republic, in speaking of that stubborn torch that runs from Marathon to Concord, that holds the flame of freedom. He says, "You will tame it like a kept hawk. You will perch it on the wrist of Caesar. But keep the traditions," he writes. "Conserve the forms, the observances. Keep the spot sore." That's our job, to keep the spot sore. That is not the work of the black community. The work of the black community is theirs to determine We know it has something to do with prophetic imagination, something to do with creativity, and we hope and pray that we can summon the humility to listen in a new and different way and to be led toward positive action at this pivotal time. But we know what our work is. Our work is to stay awake and keep the spot sore. You remember, I'm sure, that scene in Gethsemane when Jesus went off to pray, leaving the disciples, hoping they might do likewise, and they fell asleep. And he returned and asked them, "Could you not be with me even for this night?" As night deepens around us, once again, as the agony of 8 minutes and 46 seconds begins to dim like the images we saw on television of the war in Vietnam in 1967 and 68. When we start to lose track again, we need to remember this time. We need to keep the spot sore until Juneteenth takes its rightful place among the holidays which celebrate our history in an honest way, a way that is not bound up in American exceptionalism, but is deeply human, acknowledges our failings. Our task now, friends, is to keep the spot sore. Thank you.